What's going on, YouTube? Small Door here, and it's been a while since I've done a tier list. I'm starting in full screen mode because I need to announce that this is going to have spoilers, and I'm doing this for a game that's not that old yet, although I think most of the hardcore fan base has already completed the game. And this is going to be for Clair Obscur Expedition 33, a full tier list of the bosses, at least of this list that I found on Tier Maker. Says there's 78 listed here. I've cleared everything in the game. I have 100% of the game. Pretty much on stream. I think the only thing I didn't do on stream was reach level 99. But did that later. And so yeah. Warning. Spoilers. Okay. Let's get into it. Let's dive in. The first thing we have up here is the Alicia fight. Because you fight her once. You fight her in the Mael side quest in Act 3. She is the you fight her as the boss in the Reacher Zone. Side note, I think this side quest should have been mandatory. However, in terms of a fight, so we have to take everything into consideration. The difficulty of the fight. Anybody who knows me, difficulty does matter. I don't like things that are complete pushovers. I want a challenge. I want something that's cool. I want something that's impactful. Like, is the music cool? Is the implication in the story cool? You know, all of these things add into the whole culmination of where am I going to rank this boss. So when I did this, when I did this part anyway, I had already stopped using Steindal. It was all pre-nerf when I got to this point, but I unfortunately used Steindal on 2 bosses and one-shot both of them. So it's going to be a little skewed on those. But for the Alicia fight, I did not. However, I still didn't think it was too hard. I think I actually died the first time. Because I wanted to see what she did, and she like one-shot me, because my builds were very glass cannon-y. So, I think because of story implications alone, she has to be A tier. Alright, this is one of the gestrals. I'm going to probably put all the gestrals D tier, and here's why. Because, well, there's a couple of them that I won't, but all gestrals they all have the same moveset. And they're all very, very simple. Unless their name is Golgram. Their movesets, it's just, I don't know. To me, they're very uninspired, but at the same time, 95% of all the Gestral fights are fight the merchant. You're really meant to not lose against these guys. They're meant to just be like a little added extra thing. Like, all right, you're able to do it. Okay, you can now get the rest of my, buy the rest of my merchandise. Kind of thing. It's nothing that's like supposed to be an ultra challenge. Big Boy Burgeon. I'm going to put him in a B. B is like middle of the road. Nothing crazy. The chromatic Abest. Abest, whatever. Cotton Candy Man. This guy is a C tier. Literally has 2 moves. 3 moves, actually. So this is the chromatic one of these guys. I think it's an A tier, because this fight was, if it's the one that I'm thinking of, unfortunately these are not named. It's just pictures, so I'm having to literally go off the picture. If it's the one that's on the floating island in Act 3, the fight was pretty hard. However, it's the exact same moveset as the guys in Lumiere, so it's not really that big of a deal. If this is the chromatic ballet dancers, where it's actually 3 of them, one I'm thinking of, I think this is B tier. I'm not a huge fan. I wasn't a huge fan of the fights that really require you to free aim, but that's because I didn't utilize the machine gun builds. I know you can do that. I messed around with it for a little bit just to see how it worked. I just didn't like that playstyle. I'm going to put that in a B tier, which is pretty much average. It's not terrible, but it's not great. This is the chromatic. I forgot what these guys are called. They're the guys that shoot the bubbles out of their head. It was all right. It's not that, nothing major. This is another chromatic guy. I'm gonna put him in B tier. I forgot what extra zone he was in. It was the one where you had to shoot the 3 eyeballs, or maybe there's 4 eyeballs. You had to shoot in the zone, and then it completed the bridge, and then you went across and fought this guy. It was all right. This is the chromatic version. I'm gonna place him higher than the other version because he just looks way cooler. They all have the exact same moveset. So that's a little sad panda. But, the moveset, it's an early game moveset where they're going to swallow and remove a party member from the party. They're going to spit on you. They're going to do a 3-hit, 5-hit. Is there a 7-hit combo? I can't remember. Maybe it's 3, 4, 5. I can't remember. This is the chromatic guy in the Reacher right before you fight Alicia. This fight was actually pretty cool. I'll put him B tier as well for now. Based on the picture, I can't tell who this is. I want to say this is the chromatic guy that's on the map pretty early on in the game. You can actually get an expedition log about the guys that are like, oh, we're trying to get 100 kills. And you can see they have a tally board, and then at the end of the log, they're like, oh, here's a big Nevron. If I get this one, I get back up to the 100 kill mark. I think this is the guy that's right next to him. I'm going to give him a C. Pretty much most of the early game bosses aren't going to really be that high rank. This is the shoot electric weird thingamajigs. Is this the one in the Stone Wave Cliffs Cave? I'm not sure. If it is, I hated this fight. And here's why. Actually, no, it's not, because I can see the picture for the one that it is. Which guy is this, then? Oh. This is the, It's in the Sinister Cave. Maybe. Is this the one in the Sinister Cave? Leave him down here in the C tier anyway. This guy can suck it, because he's another flying boss. Which is cool, though, because I like his... Okay, it's tough, because I like his moveset. Also, I like... I don't know if it's necessarily related to him only, I can't remember. Monaco has the... gets his move, where he sweeps. Goes whoosh, 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 the whole party. But yeah, he's the boss from the crows, where you had to shoot all the crows and then he'll spawn. Yeah, his moveset's actually kind of nice, even though he sucks because he's flying. I'm not sure which one of these this one is, but they're all pretty cool. Okay, I've seen so many things online of people who hate these mobs. These are the light and dark mobs. They do the lift their sword up, then it shines, and then it attacks, and they lift the sword up, shing, then attack, and the wind up, shing, and then swing. Or do they do the full silence, or maybe it's a silence. Then they do the one where they get up in the air and they go, yeah. I don't know. I actually think they're pretty cool. I think the design of these enemies is sick. The music that plays when you fight them is sick. Yeah. And here's another enemy. I think this enemy is dope. So you fight this guy as a boss a couple times. The hardest version being the one in Renoir's drafts. This is the creation. One of Renoir's Neverons. I think he's really, really cool. I'm going to actually put him above the Alicia fight because he's got a crazy moveset. He looks sick. This is a standard ruler. Pretty much most of the chromatic enemies, though, if they're not like a late game enemy, they're going to probably be low because their movesets are so basic. Although this one's pretty cool. It's one of the dancer things. This is the one I believe in Old Lumiere. Bomb guy, I don't give a fuck. Whatever. These enemies, whatever. Okay, there's a million of these dudes. It's the copy of the very first like actual boss of the game. Who that? I can't tell based on the picture. What is this guy? Dude, some of these I can't even tell. Like what they are, dude. All right, I'm looking at some of these and I'm just like, what? All right, let me look at like the actual like main boss ones and then we're gonna rank them, okay? Mask Keeper. This dude's S tier. I'm sorry, this dude's sick. It's a two-phase boss fight. I love two-phase boss fights, especially when you have to two-phase it. And if you die in phase 2, you got to start with phase 1 again. His phase 2 is really challenging. I actually had a hard time with him, which I didn't think I was going to. And that's what's really interesting about my playthrough. I've seen so many people after I beat the game, I started watching a lot of playthroughs. People were just breezing through the whole game. I kind of did too, in terms of like, I didn't really die. I think my first real death, in terms of like, against a boss that like I needed to actually beat, was this guy. It might have been the Mask Keeper, where I failed. I lost against a couple like side chromatics and whatnot, but I don't really count those, okay? Because his phase 2 is pretty nasty. But I like it. He has a crazy moveset. And the fact that you can affect the difficulty of the fight by doing the rest of the zone before you fight him, awesome. Here's the snake. I'm putting the snake in like a B, the flying snake. So I one-shot this boss, literally killed the boss in the first turn. However, I challenged the boss many times as soon as I hit Act 3. Before I used Steindal a couple times. And so he was one of the two bosses I used Steindal on. But so I saw most of his moveset. I like the moveset. I like the fight. I like the boss. I hate the fact that it's a boss that removes your ability to act. And to me, that's not really fun. That's not like a fun thing. Like when you lose the ability to act, essentially. I mean, you can still do basic attacks, but that's what he does. He absorbs all of your AP, and all AP absorbed becomes shield up to their max or whatever. To me, that's just not really fun. Serene, also S tier. I had a harder time with the Serene fight. That's not why I'm putting it lower than Mask Keeper. But it's still sick, man. It's such a beautiful fight. It's gorgeous. It's epic. It's grand. It's like the music is boom. It's amazing. A lot of the main story fights really are like top tier. Because then I'm putting Lampmaster up here too. Which I'm looking at this list. It doesn't have the other Lampmasters. Because there's two more Lampmasters that you can fight. There's the one from the Painted Workshops, which is the best version, I think, of the Lampmaster. And then there's the one in Flying Manor. The Lampmaster's cool. I really like interacted fights because Lampmaster has his lamp challenge that you could do, and as long as you complete the challenge each time he does it, you eliminate him from doing the major sweep attack with the sword, light sword that hits the party. Super sick. And if you fail, get wrecked. I thought it was badass. That's just what I'm saying. I have to put this one up here, and no, I'm gonna put A tier because We already have another one. Where did I put him? Down here. But this is the boss's name is literally Clair Obscur. This is the one that's inside the monolith. I had the most difficulty with this one because you're still in Act 2 when you fight this guy. And you also fight 2 of the smaller ones. It's not a chromatic, but I had a good time with that fight, it being quite challenging. I think a lot of people are going to agree the duelist is S tier. It just is. The duelist. It's S tier. But I'm going to put him low S tier because he's very easy. Duelist is easy, at least the story version. There's a version in the Endless Tower that's not easy, I will say. Let's see. I'm trying to find like all like the big like unique bosses. Sprung. Okay, there's the other guy, a one shot. But I did see his moveset because I tried to fight him very early on. AKA Act 2. Ooh, here you go. This guy's the scavenger. This guy is sick. This was, in my opinion, this was my first encounter of a side boss that had like its own little cinematic intro cutscene. It had like multi-phase, moon, light, dark. The boss would vanish and all this kind of stuff. And it was the first boss or first enemy entirely that I encountered that had the insta lasers. But there's a giveaway on how to actually dodge it or parry it. I had a blast. And it's the first time as a reward you get a weapon for Lune that allows you to create dark stains, which Lune doesn't normally make dark stains because none of her abilities do dark damage. They're all, you know, fire, ice, lightning, or earth. But you can get dark stains with that weapon, which is cool. Other bosses. Let's take a look. No, see, this is where it's weird. It does have a boss here from Endless Tower. I can see it on the list. Just for giggles, you gotta put Francois. And you actually get to fight Francois twice in the game. It's okay. The fight's a joke, but it's hilarious. And of course, when he's like, "Scram! Get off my lawn!" Dude. And he does the most powerful ice attack ever. Dude, I love him. I absolutely love Francois. It's just so good. So good. See, he's A tier for me just because everything else about the fight is so good. I'm trying to like look at some of these guys to see who's who. I'm trying to save certain ones for later towards the end of the list. Oh yeah, I totally forgot that I did one shot the Clair fight. So I have to put her in B tier because I actually don't really know the fight. I forgot I one shot her too. That's right. Because when I had, because I never built my Mael using Steindal. I never built her that way. I was using the other one where it does the void but all damage everybody ability is what I was using. And then I saw people were doing Steindal. I was like, how are you guys doing billions of damage? I forgot I did kill, it was the 3 of these guys because I was already in the middle of Flying Manor. That's right. I have no idea what she does. I just one-shot her. Next. So we have Goblu. Goblu is the second major boss in the game that you come across. He's the first time in the entire game you get some music that's not this classical, orchestral music, and instead you get some like electronic, like synthwave, like with a nice bass line, and you're like, yeah, let's go, dude. The fight itself, he's very simple mechanics. He has a couple attacks. He has the jump, which at this point in the game, when you get to him, because you just got Mael and you just learned about the jumping mechanic, it's a little cheap, devs. Goblu jumps and slams the ground. You don't jump. You parry or dodge. Yeah, I was like, I think that got everybody, by the way. Let's see here. I can't tell which... See, here's the thing. Okay. And the reason why I'm saying, like, how this list is incomplete. You have a Paintress. You have a Renoir. Okay. I get it. This Renoir fight is S tier. I'm actually going to put him kind of high. I'm going to put him number 3. I think this Renoir fight, the one in Act 2, right before you fight the Paintress, that fight is sick. I think that fight is sick. It's so cool. It's a 2-phase fight, kinda. At half, like 70%, he'll get healed by some random ass dire wolf that shows up. It's so cool. I like it a lot. I actually like it much more than the final fight. I think the final fight, I'm still going to give the final fight A tier. So that's why I realized the curator look is the final fight Renoir. Only because of the scale and the epicness of it, because Aline shows up and is battling the Paintress Axon, is fighting the other Axons in the background, and it's just all... It's so grandiose, but I don't really like his own personal moveset. I don't think he looks that cool for a boss. It was a little let down in terms of the final fight in that sense. Let's see. I'm trying to see who some of these other guys are. Who we got here? I mean, I might as well put the Paintress as well. So the Paintress, I think, has to be S tier. No, I can't do it. Paintress is A tier for me, but it'll be high A tier. I like the fact that it's a 2-phase fight, and phase 2 is sick, but phase 1, no. This was the hardest fight in the game for me. I spent more time on Paintress than any other boss in the game, and it's not even close. Not even close. I probably spent around 2 hours plus of just slamming my head against this boss before I finally beat her, because I just could not dodge or parry the one attack where she's no, not the glowing pulsing one, the one where she takes like her fan. Actually, I think it's the paint board, and she just like throws wind chroma at you or whatever. That move messed me up, dude. It was messing me up a lot. I was able to perfect parry all of the meteorite shard things. No big deal. I even got to the point where she was like doing the pulsing thing. I can handle that too. No big deal. And then just the waves. It was so hard. I eventually got to the point though where I got pretty good at it, but phase 2 was not that difficult, but it was much more grand and epic, which is why it's still high A tier for me. And then of course, obviously the implications of the fight. Story-wise, the fact that there's story dialogue going on in the middle of the fight, it's pretty damn good. I'm trying to look at this picture. I can't tell what the hell this is. Oh, that's the this is the it's the thing for Celine. I'm just gonna give it a B. Almost everything's gonna get a B if it's just average. But yeah, all these gestrals, all these type of gestrals, even the Minoko fight. Sorry, Minoko. I don't know who the hell that is. Or who that is. I can't tell. Another gestral. I can't tell. I'm a little sad though. There's only the one Golgra. I mean, I guess that this could be the main Golgra. So she gets an honorable place on the S tier because I think in just raw technical difficulty, this Golgra could be one of the hardest fights in the game. One of, not the obviously the. There's a special person for that, which we will place him soon enough. Soon enough, guys. I'm trying to think who else. Okay, so this is the Crushing Cavern. He's gonna be high B tier, like middle of the road, like average, but high average. Because when you first encounter this, I was hoping there was gonna actually be more fights or encounters like this in the game, which is like you have to just figure out how to beat the boss, in a time limit, like, and you have to beat it a certain way. It's not just get the health bar down to 0, maybe. I mean, that is what you do here, but you're on a clock. You only have so many turns before you just lose. I thought that was cool. I wanted more fights like that. And to be fair, this guy is one of them. This whatever guy. But his is annoying, so he gets C tier. That's the guy who just slams the ground. Boom, 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 and then he finally breaks. Okay. So here is the dual Renoir Paintress fight at the end of the Endless Tower. I think it's the Painted Lovers, or Painted Love boss fight. I think it's pretty high. It doesn't have the story implications, though, so it is lower on the totem pole. I'm actually going to put it here. Just going to go here. So, okay. Little tidbit about this fight with my experience. This is the chromatic, I think they're called Hexgas, fight that's in the Stone Wave Cliffs cave. Which you can fight them right after you get the swim ability. It did not register with me about hitting the crystal to change his form. So I would get to a certain point in the fight, I'm like, huh, I do no damage to him. Nothing registers, but he's hurting me. And then my game it just coincidentally, it's happened to me twice on this fight, where after that happened, where I could no longer damage him, my game crashed. So I literally thought it was a bug. Like, I thought there was actually something wrong. So I stopped. I was like, you know what, I'll just come back. Maybe, there needs to be a hot fix. No big deal. Came back like the next day, the stream later. I was a little bit stronger. Came back, and it clicked. Oh, that's how you beat this guy. So I ended up beating the guy, but yeah, I don't know. Not the greatest type of fight for me. Dude, I can't tell what half of these things are, man. Like, what is that? I don't know. I'm like looking at it. I'm like, I can't tell, dude. Or that one? I don't know. Okay, I know this guy. This guy is in the Forgotten Battlefield. Is the chromatic flaming guy. He's alright. It's whatever. Oh. Okay, this guy's gonna be high B tier. This is the parry only fight. And here's why I'm giving him high B instead of actually lower. Once I realized that was the only way you can beat this guy, because I'm trying to remember, was this the guy that I actually looked up? There was only one thing that I can't remember if it was this guy. It might have been this guy. I think it was. I was like, you know what? I'm going to use this guy to get good at parrying. I'm going to learn how to parry from this guy. Oh, that's right. That's what I looked up. Because the gradient attacks, I was having such a hard time parrying his gradient attacks, because up until that point, all the gradient attacks were very, very obvious. The attack would slow, it would get super gray and everything, or, it's a mortal attack or whatever. And then, boom. It would say mortal attack, but it didn't turn anything gray, nothing. Nothing. Just stay normal. That's right. That's what I was looking up on this guy. All right, so I'm still trying to figure out what the hell this thing is. I can't tell. This is a petanque. It's not a real fight. Okay, I think for where it's at in the game, I think this is also a really good fight. This is the troubadour, the chromatic troubadour in Flying Waters. I think it's the first time you ever see a troubadour, so the moveset is you're like, whoa, this is crazy. It's far more challenging than Goblu, because Goblu is the boss of the zone, but you're gonna fight this guy first. I really, really like it. I thought it was cool, challenging, and everything, but at the end of the day, it is just a regular enemy. Obviously, you don't know that at the time. Oh, this is another one of those dudes that's in the serene area. I'm trying to think of where I want to put this thing. No, this guy deserves B tier. Deserves the B tier. What are you here? I don't know what you are. Can't see. All right, so I'm going to put these guys here on the list here. These are all of these, I forgot what they're called, copies of the first boss in Spring Meadows. There's a few instances of where you fight these guys. The hardest one being actually in Flying Manor, where you have to fight 3 of them. You have to fight the fire, ice, and lightning all at the same time. And then it rotates. One of them is invincible every turn. Until there's only one left. Then, obviously, he's not invincible, because then you wouldn't be able to win the fight. I actually think these are pretty cool bosses. I'll put them all in this tier. It should be noted, though, that they actually do have slight variance in their attacks. They're very similar, but there is a slight variance in terms of like the timings and things like that. This is the ultimate Sakapatat. I think is also a B tier. Especially, you have to keep in mind of when you encounter this fight. Very good. I have no idea what the fuck this is. I have no idea what that is. I have no idea what that is. So I know what the regular enemy of this is. Oh, whoa. This is the one in the Crimson Forest. Yeah, B tier. I think low B is effective. This is the Gargon. I think you're B tier also. Man, some of these are like average, but it's like then it's like ranking the average guys. I like it because he does a thing where he like puts a snowstorm, so it's actually harder to see when like it's literally harder to see. That's pretty cool. Oh yeah, there's another one of those guys. Yeah, what is that? Like, oh, that's what that is. Man, whoever made this picture is crazy. This is the chromatic Lancier from Spring Meadows. You know what? I like the fight, dude. It's A tier, and here's why. Here's why it's an A tier fight. It's the first chromatic enemy in the game. It's just you and Lune. Gustav and Lune. You're learning. You haven't fought like a boss yet the whole game. Here you go. This is what the side content's going to be like. To be fair, you should have already fought a mime already in Spring Meadows as well, which I've noticed there's no mimes on here, but it's fine. They all have the exact same moves. Same 2 moves. Yeah. He only has 2 moves too, but like I said, I'm taking into consideration where you encounter him in the game, where you're at, what it means for you as the player. So I think that he is worthy of A tier. Whereas like some of these other guys, whatever, the chromatic Goblu. I mean, I'm not gonna put him A tier or S tier like the regular one. I'll give him B tier. You know, it's kind of a cool fight, you know? But he's just Goblu, just harder. And this is a Portier, but this is, I think that's what they're called, the Portiers? Whatever, you know? These chromatic guys actually gave me a challenge. I'm going to put them a little bit higher. I need to switch these two. I think this is the first boss. The first boss is the best. I think it's this one. So these are the chromatic little guys or whatever. They're a random normal mob in the Reacher, like at the end of the game. But then you can run into these guys pretty early on. I believe they're in Yellow Forest. Yellow Harvest. There's 3 of them. It's a pretty challenging fight, especially at that point in the game. The rest of these guys, it's just chromatic dudes of regular enemies. The Stalact, whatever, I don't know. This is the dude in this guy. I don't know what the hell that is. But I know these two. Actually, I think he's one of them too. You can tell because of the red. These are the 3 guys from before you fight the Visage Maskkeeper. This is the creation, but this is the story version. B tier. I don't know what you are. This is the chromatic jar. I don't remember where I fight this guy. I don't know what he does. Here's this. And then, of course, yeah, Simon's S tier. Simon. Here's one thing I would have liked. I think, not one thing, and here's going to be a little bit more on this besides my tier list here of the bosses. And this is missing, like, some of them. It's weird because they threw some of the optional bosses, but then they didn't throw in some of the other optional bosses, so that's kind of strange. In this list. I wish the game would have given a little bit more sprinkled information about Simon in the game. Like, have his name mentioned. Maybe Verso name drops him. Just here and there. Throughout the story. Not enough to be like, alright, man, you guys have mentioned the Simon guy. Where is he? You know. But once you get to him, you're like, oh shit, it's Simon. Because the issue is, when you finally do fight Simon, Verso obviously, you know, makes a brief thing about him before the fight. But you're like, the fuck is this guy? Who is this guy? I'm like, oh, okay, all right, now we fight him. Okay. Boom. I would have liked, like I said, some little bit more, just little kernels of information about Simon, name drop here and there throughout the story. You know how, because you learn that Simon's the one who beat the Axon in Old Lumiere. And maybe when you're in Old Lumiere, maybe just offhandedly Verso says something. Couldn't have been Simon, could it? No. And then, you know, he goes off. You know, maybe talks about how, like, he had a really, you know, maybe he had a best friend in Expedition Zero that was this, you know, insane, you know, crazy fighter, blah, 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 blah. All this kind of stuff. Maybe, you know, just something like that. Anyways, the fight is sick. It's a 2-phase fight. It absolutely is the hardest fight in the game. No question. He gives you one of the coolest weapons in the game when you beat him. Unfortunately, it's not the best weapon for Verso, but it's cool. It's certainly cool. You know, you use that weapon for the cool factor, not for, you know, optimization. He looks sick. He's one-armed. I mean, he's basically using the Moonlight Greatsword, and he's Artorias. I mean, come on, like, that's who Simon is. But no, he, you know, corrupted with the Clair thing and everything like that. It's my tier list. Now, I do got to say, like I mentioned briefly that there was, they threw in, where did I put it? the Painted Love fight from Endless Tower. Okay, that's here. But here's the Duelist. What about the other Duelist fights? Some of those are super hard. Like, hello? Or why is there only the one Golgra fight? Technically, you fight Golgra when you revive Noko. You fight Golgra as Monoko in the village. You know, easier form. And then you still also can challenge her, the Uber Ultra Mega Hard version, which I'll just assume is this version because it's the only time she's here. But yeah, there's 3 different versions of her that you fight. What else is not here? You know what I mean? Like, I guess, I don't know. I guess this list is pretty complete. And some of these things that I have down here on this D list, it's the gestuals or ones that I'm just like, I mainly just wanted like the big story guys, but I couldn't find another list that it was a little more condensed with only like the big story heavy hitters. And here's, guys, it's my list of my bosses from Clair Obscur Expedition 33. It is a completely unbiased list, and it is the de facto ranking. Okay. Comment down below, who's your favorite boss? Who's your least favorite boss? What are your favorite enemies? You know, like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. You know, I'm going to try to do more tier lists and things like that. I need to get back to it. But yeah, I will catch you guys later in the next video. Peace.